Hello and welcome to the fourth episode of the tapping workshop by Masud. I'm Masud for this specific workshop. In this workshop, we're going to talk about how to generate URLs and how to use the private URLs as well. So many kinds of tab directors don't know after the configuration what should be done at the very first time. I believe we should think about the private URL. So there are three specific steps. Number one is generating private URLs, then email URLs, and scan identifiers about the check-in or something like that. So first of all, we should think about how to generate private URL, right? In the previous video, I already described to you how this kind of participant list can eventually be created. So yeah, you can see the participant list right now, and then you can go to this kind of private URLs. So for generating private URLs, you already said should actually tap on this generate private URLs, and then all the URLs will be in a sense that if you are saying the 8 adjudicator URLs, you are seeing the specific speaker URLs. In this through these URLs, the speakers can give the mark to adjudicators. The adjudicator can submit their ballots as well, so that you guys can enter the results as soon as possible and march the result up for the next round. So basically, why is it so much important? Because in the online debating, you don't have the ballot sheets, and the other perspectives or the other alternative is not less likely to be used. So for that, right now we are going to this sort of specific ideas that these things should get into the email section, and after getting into the email section, the debaters or the adjudicators getting this sort of emails or this sort of mails can submit their own marking as self. So right now we are getting on to either it is copyable or not. As far as I can know, this will not get in a site, because if you see this I'm already in the logged in position. If you see Masud 2001 is already been logged, that means to say if it will work in the debater section or the adjudication section as well. Hopefully that will clear us all out that how to generate private URLs. That means the private URL generating sector is cleared from my side. So right now the second thing is how to email this kind of URLs, right? So directly you just have I would like to let you guys know that in the Tabby Kitten software you cannot email the URLs as soon, but in the Calico, the recent update of TabbyCat, you can directly send the URLs, and for that you are seeing this sort of messages. If you send this sort of messages, it's already customized. So if you do want to add any sort of other things, you can, but obviously do maintain that in this specific metric, because without this specific metric, your mail will not get sent to the other person you want to mail. So yeah, right now you are seeing many sort of errors out here because this is the tabby kitten side, and which was not expected. So right now we are thinking about email URLs. In the emailing URLs, you have to use the Calico. I'm not showing the Calico side right now, but the fact is what I'm going to show is why this tabby kitten or tabby cat is not important to eventually send the URLs, because eventually you can do this in the Gmail. You can directly search for the Gmail, the update or the extension version of Gmail to send the emails. So yeah, right now we can think about the email URLs, how to email this sort of URLs. And then right now we can think about the scan identifiers. I already said that without the Calico you will not be able to send the emails through your tab. So be sure about this idea, that don't get any sort of hesitation if you're not being able to send the emails through your TabbyCat account. So that fills the whole site. Yeah. So right now what's our next duty is basically what will these URLs also serve to us, right? The URLs will also serve to us about this sort of custom mails. If you see, if you think about that already you want to send this URLs to another set, then this is a Calico site. You can see right now is combat EDC, and by this obviously you can send this message through a customized set. I'm sorry, basically from a site. If you see at that specific time I'm going to my Gmail to check that this email came in my Gmail or not. That means to say obviously in a Calico you can use the custom mails. So yeah, you can see one mail has been queued. That means in my Gmail there has to be an email sent through this specific tab. So yeah, let us check that. That means to say the basic custom emails, the after sending the emails, there may be some of the emails, yeah, you can see the email is here. There may be some of the email which can miss at the very same time. So after that, you just have to click on the custom email and then select the member whom you want to send the email. Then you just have to click on the send message and he will get the registration key and the other things as well. So yeah, that's the normal fact I can share about the emailing Calico or emailing through Calico tab and something like that. So yeah, that's very much normal. That why this people do get nervous about this one idea, that how can I send eventually that much emails at a time. It's very easy, normal. Eventually not that much hard or not that much technical. It doesn't actually need you guys to acquire many kinds of programming languages and something like that. It's not that much important because it's the least thing what you want to do in the tab. So basically from a side you can see that I got the Gmail which I already sent from the custom mail. From the side right now I think we can go to what kind of emails or what kind of Gmail actually means to be. That means to say what this kind of private URLs actually mean in the real world. Mainly, people use it for the check-ins more often without the ballot submission or the adjudication submission. They use it for the basically for the ballot submission, if you see. So yeah, there are some specific workshop and problems. So in that particular place, I already showed to you how to email this sort of URLs. So yeah, right now I think it's enough obvious for the obvious brief of how to send emails. So yeah, let's think about the identifiers or the check-in section through Discord, URL, or printed site. That means to say, if you talk about the printed site, obviously you will see the identifier section and you will see the scan identifier, make identifiers, print identifier, and something like that. If you print those identifiers, people will directly get to recognize through their mobile barcode scanners and something like that. You can say about this sort of check-in section. If you see in the check-in section, you will find this sort of identifier option. So yeah, make identifier, scan identifier, people status, and room status. That means suppose one people is from the debater and obviously he gets into his private URLs and check into and then directly clicks into an idea that he's checking in. Then in the people status you will directly see that that people is checked in. That means you will get a very easy you will get a very push for the allocation about who is available and who is not. That means to say the manual availability, which I'll obviously clear in the next section, is eventually very much clear when the people actually come to their own check-in places. So from the side is you can see about how to make identifiers, how to scan identifiers, and what about the people status. So yeah, you can think about right now you can generate all the speakers identifiers, you can generate all the adjudicators identifiers and the venue identifiers as well, which is not always necessary that you should make the identifiers as well, but factually it is important in the physical tournaments most often to create to actually to recognize the perfect answer, or I must say the real person of that specific speaker. So about the check-in, the Discord you can also use the checked-in version, that the question, and then you can like write check-in so that you can get checked in the people status. So in that specific certain you can also create the identifiers of the adjudicators, you can also create the identifiers of the venues if you want. So then you can think about the scan identifiers, how can you even scan that. That means to say you can check that identifiers from the site, and then you can talk about the people status, that which speaker is available, which speaker is not, which chair is available, which chair is not, and basically which team is available, which team is not, which institution is not totally available or not. Basically you can get all the information throughout there. So yeah, you can see that all the DU members haven't checked in for a single time, or the unaffiliated persons were not checked in as a self. So if they could have checked in, this people's specific status would have shown them basically in a blue marker or something like that. So yeah, at that specific time this people status bar is also important from the side of check-ins. So hopefully that will create the basic, like that will destroy the basic dilemma of how generating emails are eventually important, how gmails are made, or basically how private urls are getting paid, and something like that. So hopefully in the next round we are going to talk, next workshop we are going to talk about the setting up a round. Till then, goodbye, ta-da, wish you all the best.